Hello, good night, everybody. Welcome to Conversation with Rickford Burke, live from New York. Good night, everybody. Text me, let me know where you're watching from. See, you guys started to do that since about 50 minutes ago on YouTube. All right, so again, welcome back. I've been off for a while, but this show is not going away, not going anywhere. So we're having it on an off night because last night, some of the folks we wanted to be on were not available. So they're available tonight. So we'll have a very interesting conversation with some of the executive members of the Guyana Teachers Union and Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal from Region 3. So call up everybody, get on all of your social media platforms, let everybody know Conversation with Rickford Burke is on. Get on your Twitter, your TikTok, your IG, your Facebook, your email, your WhatsApp. I almost said Cash App. WhatsApp, all of your social media platforms. So, Facebook Messenger, spread the word, share the link far and wide. Conversation with Rickford Burke is on. Now, some housekeeping business. My technical guys will kill me if I don't do that. If you're watching me from YouTube and you're not subscribed, please click on the subscribe button. If you're watching me from Facebook or IG, please follow me or like my page so that you can get notifications whenever I'm on or whenever I post something. All right, so text me, let me know where you're watching me from. Share the link, everybody. This is a big program. We'll get an update on what's going on with the teacher strike, and we'll also make some big announcements about assistance for the teachers. All of that coming up. Text me, let me know where you're watching me from. Cotirance, you're watching from China? Is that China or China? All right. Rhonda Spencer, good night. Rhonda, where you watching from? Everybody posting, tell me where you're watching from so we'll get a good idea of the viewership. Miss Liverpool, Desiree. Did I see Jamaica? I see New Jersey. I see watching from Sophia. I see watching from West Demerara. I see watching from Toronto. Watching from New York, Queens. Hello, Mr. Format, watching from Maryland. Saw somebody there from Atlanta. It's going fast. You guys are really texting fast. Somebody else, Miss Isaacs from New Jersey. Donna, where you watching from? Donna Daniels. Watching from Bartica. No. Could you all pull that back? I want to see who's watching from Bartica there. Oh, Tony Hack. Straight out of Bartica. All right. All right, good. I feel good. Somebody from Bartica. Miss Adams. Or Mr. Adams, sorry. Valon Adams. Watching from Las Vegas. Nevada. Watching from Guyana. Miss Henson. Carolyn Hinson, Jacqueline Tuesday, watching from Los Angeles, California. Wow. The Bronx, the Biggie Bronx, Karen Clark. Good night to you. Watching from Atlanta would be Miss Bob Semple. Sorry, Sean Bob Semple, I think that's what it says. It's going fast. Who else? Hi, Kieran. I see you, boy. I see you, boy. You're Amsterdam in the house. All right. So come on, everybody. Share the link. Give me 60 seconds. I'll be back, and we'll talk to Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal and General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union, Member of Parliament Coretta MacDonald, and Executive Member of the GTU representing Region 2, Mr. Dorga. I'll be back. All right, welcome back to Conversation with Rickford Burke. Of course, this is Rickford here in New York. Tonight we'll be talking with Coretta MacDonald, the General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union. We'll be talking to Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal, and we'll be talking to Mr. Durga, who is the Region 2 representative of the Guyana Teachers Union, Region 2 South, I think, teacher representative for the Guyana Teachers Union. Share the link, everybody. Mr. Takruddin Durga, General Council Representative, South Essequibo, actually south of Essequibo. So, and we may have some others. So let me see. Let me bring on Miss MacDonald. There you go. Coretta MacDonald, the fearless
Hi, Ricky.
leader.
Good night. And how are you?
I'm fine. Are you okay? Good. I'm seeing you. I'm seeing you have some other colleagues with you there.
Well, I have one colleague here with me who is from the Essequibo Coast. And
does he have his video on? I'm seeing like 10 of you.
You're seeing like 10 of me? All right. What I'll do, let me log out and come back in.
If he's on, maybe he can just turn on his video. Is his video on? Are you seeing him?
I'm not seeing him. But let me log out and come back in if you're seeing more than one of me.
No. You don't have to log out. I can get rid of them.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I could get rid of them. So let me see. Okay. I just thought, all right, so that's it. It's done.
Good.
All right. Here comes Mr. Mahipal. Sir Mahipal. Mahipo.
I trust that you're hearing me,
I'm
and
hearing
I can see like this strike action has Coretta looking younger.
I know. I know. Um, so Coretta, Mr. Durga, I don't see him. Message him and let him know that I'm looking for him if he could log in to the studio.
All right.
Ganesh.
I know that Comrade Dennis Jaikaran, I think he's watching us too. And so if you're watching us, Comrade Jaikaran, just let Mr. Durga know that we are waiting for him. And Ricky, I don't know why you have me and my colleague here. I don't like to be on the same platform with this young man, because he always sees age as a big thing. And I'm saying age is a number.
Well, you older folk can go ahead and talk. I'm just sitting here at 26, so I just turned 26.
Oh boy!
Rickford is always being in the company of Coretta. I can tell you that. I sit with her in Parliament, and we sit just next to each other. In fact, I'm just behind her. So she would tell you it's always fun being next to each other.
I know, right? She said you have no behavior, Ganesh. You always prompting her to behave bad. So all those things she says is you.
True.
So I'm seeing Dean logging on. So when he's fully here, we'll get going. But everybody keep sharing this link. Take some time, share the link, get on all your platforms, Twitter, IG, Facebook Messenger, email, wherever. And here comes Mr. Durga. Mr. Durga, welcome to New York.
There he is.
I think his mic is mute, so he has to unmute.
Mr. Durga, can you unmute your mic?
Yeah, good night.
Turn up. I'm hearing you now. Turn up your volume a little. All right, so we'll wait for him to come back on. So Coretta, in the meantime, while he's okay, there he is. Are you hearing us, sir?
Yes, loud and clear.
Loud and clear? All right, good. We're hearing you too, but if you can speak up a little bit. How is the weather like in Essequibo?
Yes. Well, it's good. Excellent.
Really? Well, I'm an Essequibo,
Yes. Yes. Okay.
All right, so I'll start with the General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union. Coretta, why don't you give us an update of where the strike action is, and has there been any contact with the government? Did they start any form of conciliation? What's the status?
Well, Ricky, again, good night to you and the two wonderful young men you have here and to your audience. Today marks the 13th day of the industrial action where teachers all across Guyana, they have decided to withhold their services because of the refusal of this government to come to the table with regards to collective bargaining. Day 13 and the teachers are out, schools are not in. There is no kind of formal teaching happening in schools right now, but yet the government who claims to care still don't care because they are not interested in the education of poor people's children. So poor people's children are out of schools while their children are attending private schools. So they are in schools, and that's what's important for them. It has been 13 days. 13 hard days. My colleague will tell you what is happening in Essequibo, but 13 hard days for teachers because we had to make a very drastic decision to be away from schools. As teachers, we love our learners. We want to be in school, but we cannot continue to be in school when our welfare is being thrown in the grass corner, let me say that, by our employer. We cannot continue to work under the conditions we've been working under. More so, we've submitted a proposal since 2020, and up to this time that we're talking, the government has not seriously decided that they want to talk with the executive members of the GTU, who has the authority to represent teachers across this country within the public system. So the strike we have seen over the last 13 days, almost 75 to 80% of the teachers within the public schools being out of schools. We may not have seen a whole lot of them out in the streets in some of the regions, but the teachers are at home. And that's where we are right now. And according to the vice president, they don't have to talk to us.
Mr. Durga, what's the status of the strike and teachers generally on the Essequibo Coast in Region 2, particularly? Well, you're South Essequibo. If you can explain to us what is South Essequibo, and specifically, if you have any information about Essequibo Coast, if you could tell us what's the strike status there, and about what percentage of teachers are reporting for work.
Okay, we're actually representing 4 branches in region number 2. But what we would have done, the 4 branches, the Pomeroon branch, the North branch, the Central branch, and the South branch. I'm actually the General Counsel rep for the Central branch. But what we would have done is that we would have made one central point that we would meet, and that is the Anna Regina area. We would have met at the beginning of the strike at the Department of Education. They had a shed built there. And we spent a few days there, and after that, we were put out from that public space. We were forced to move there. For the matter of fact, when our sister would have visited there, our sister GF, and the following day, they sent the morning, early before we turned up there, they sent heavy security and guards and locked the gate, and police officers and so on. So we went across to the main road, and we continue our action there. So to say that the 4 branches we are combining and having our strike organized in that manner and our protest. So after we would have moved to the Anna Regina High Bridge area, and we have another brother Martin, who is doing a live on a daily basis. And I can tell you that live, he has been covering us worldwide, and at the end of every day, we have over 100 and something thousand views. But what has happened actually in Essequibo, knowing the nature of Essequibo, they thought that when they would have called a strike in Essequibo, they would not have gotten this kind of response from us. That when a strike was called by the union, we, the members, would not have responded like this in Essequibo, and that was a shock to them. Because on that day, the first Monday, we decided to come and share what we call the cash grants. And those are the grants for the classroom to enhance classroom as well. But they were met there with a surprise because the amount of teachers that show up here, and we are saying to them that this thing is about bread and butter issue. They try to swing it and say, oh, it is political and all sorts of things. But teachers of all walks of life, they were out there and they were voicing their concern, and they were showing that, enough is enough. Because after we would have submitted, as my sister GS said there, submitted our multi-year agreement in 2020, no one ever seek to meet us or meet the union to have any negotiation. And so that would have triggered the strike. So what we were asking actually that we get collective bargaining. And so that was not there. So our teachers being frustrated, they are the ones who would have actually said, you know what, we have to take a stand. And so we as even the officials at the top, we have to take a stand so as to go ahead and try to satisfy what our membership is doing.
Let me ask you this particularly this question. When you see people like the Minister of Education and the Vice President Barjagdeo, attack the union, attack teachers, and try to spin it to their supporters that this is a new AFC strike to sabotage the schools. How do you feel as a teacher that they're putting you in that political category because they don't want to pay teachers?
That's right. And you know what they are trying to do? They are trying to cripple this union so they can take control of everything. You know, without the union, the workers will suffer. They will trample upon them. You know, taking into consideration, I've seen this before that they were trying to cripple this union. This thing that they would have done now to ask the ministry not to collect our dues on behalf of the union, they have started that a long while because when our members would have been applying and we taking those forms to the accounts department, actually what they do, they just put it in somewhere in a corner because automatically when the accounts department will start deducting the dues, the membership would have grown. And so they realized that and so they started to decrease and kept away our membership. So they want to actually cripple this union. And so I would want to say they want to throw away and erase unionism from this country. So all the work that was put down there by our parents and the father of trade unionism, we bought Nathaniel Critchley, all that would have gone. And so they can take full control of workers and do whatever they want, so to speak, in the simplest language.
Thanks. Coretta, you heard him talk about, and you and I had this discussion before, that they want to cripple the union by stopping the deductions, the union dues from the teachers, and force the union to find other means of collecting their union dues. I'm pretty sure the union can find other means, but it's just this arrangement is most convenient, and the government knows that. Has the union gone to court to compel the ministry to fulfill this responsibility? And number two, traditionally, has this service been enshrined in the agreement between the union and government?
Yes, this agreement, first, let me deal with the latter part first. The teachers have signed a legal document authorizing the Ministry of Education to deduct from their salaries $700 and for same to be remitted to the union. This is what teachers have signed on to individually. I remember in 2003, when we had the strike then, or before then, as soon as you were employed, automatically your dues were deducted. But in 2003, when we had that major strike under President Murdoch, the ministry did the same thing where they said teachers did not say they want to become members, and so they took them off. But teachers went after that and signed up and became members, just the same way teachers are authorizing the Ministry of Education to do the deductions from their salaries if they owe the banks or if they're part of credit union and they would have borrowed money from credit union. It's the same format. But this here is the government's way of wanting to cripple the union. And so the union filed two sets of court documents. We took this matter to court, and that happened last week, sometime last week or the week before this would have happened. We heard the AG going on and going on. The same man who swallowed all the law books, the man was going on at a rate. And if the union is going to take the government to court, they will fight us and all kinds of things. Tomorrow was set for the hearing of our court matter. But you know what? Today we got a message saying the Attorney General has asked for extra time. Note, he has asked today for extra time. So you know what is happening there? Tomorrow, that matter cannot be heard tomorrow. And
Extra
this
time,
is the
extra time to do what?
extra time to present their I guess their evidence before this matter could be heard. So this is the kind of dilly-dallying tactics that the government has been employing all along since 2020, the same dilly-dallying tactics to delay anything that is supposed to benefit teachers. And Rickford, I'm amazed because if it weren't for a teacher, the Attorney General would not have been the man he is today. If it weren't for a teacher, Priya Manik-Chan would not have been the woman she is today. If it weren't for a teacher, the president would not have been the man he is today. And to be ungrateful to the people who taught you is worse than witchcraft. But that's where we are as teachers today, where teachers are actually beggars in their own country, the 10th richest country in the world. Teachers are beggars in this country.
Well, I'm looking at it, right? And I'm checking something. So the government, my understanding, is paid, that's the allegation. I can't verify it. Paid $21 million to some organization that honored the president in Ghana. That's the allegation. I can confirm that the government spent $61 million. $61 million campaigning against me in America. Lobbying, right? They paid the group. The group. You guys can go check it out. PHE Group. Some of these people are good people. I know them. The group, $61 million to lobby against the Washington Conference last September, right? In addition to that, Irfan Ali spent another 12 million when he came up to pre-book the conference, and he had his traveling, his ministers traveling, they had meetings, they had all of these things. They paid another $12 million, right? So there's 6 to 1 and 12. $73 million. So 73 plus 21. Ganesh, you're the politician here. This government can afford to spend about
90 something million dollars.
$90-something million. Almost $100 million. Almost $100 million. Lobbying CGID, lobbying against CGID and Rickford Burke. I am pretty sure that $100 million could pay at least 100 teachers for a year. Why this government can't find the money to give teachers a decent increase? And according to both Bart Jagdeo and Irfan Ali, they deserve 50% increase. They said it when they were in opposition. They said it in their manifesto. How hard it is for them, a government that is just drawn down another set of money from the Sovereign Wealth Fund, right? The Natural Resource Fund. Why they can't find money to pay the teachers? Ganesh, you're the politician. Correct is politician too, but tonight she's gonna different hat.
All right. So Rickford, good night. Good night, Coretta. Good night, Brother Dean Durga from Essequibo. Let me start first by saying that I'm an Essequibian and I'm very proud of Essequibo because I have been following what is happening there, reference the teachers' strike. There are a couple of myths that I must dispel, Rickford. Let me start first by saying that I am a central executive member of the People's National Congress Reform, and we are a part of the APNU AFC, as everybody knows. And at no time did the APNU AFC or the People's National Congress Reform sat around a table and decided to ignite or to influence what is happening in this country currently with the teachers of this country. We had absolutely nothing to do with it. And we are not involved in the strike action against the government for better wages for our teachers. And we have also noted that they have been calling for the collective bargaining and also better remuneration package for themselves, which they have a right to do. However, as a politician, I have a vested interest in what is happening because it has a direct effect on our country, nationally speaking. And the fact that it is disrupting the education sector and the delivery of education to our students, our pupils, that worries us as politicians. And we have to weigh what is happening. It is very disheartening. It is very sad that a government and a Ministry of Education, instead of seeking to bring the Guyana's Teachers Union to the table to have dialogue on the matters that are affecting them directly, they choose to go down the road of bashing an established union that has been there for years, representing the interest of teachers. And this is the same union that represented teachers in 2018 when
Okay.
there was a massive strike across the country, when the AP and UAFC government was in office. Coretta MacDonald, who happens to be a PNCR member, who happens to be a PNCR MP, and who was always a PNCR member, as I have known her, supported the strike in 2018, ignited the strike with her union, and stood up with teachers in 2018. And if she could have done it in 2018, why can she not do it in
Right. And,
2023?
and a strike that was supported by Barjack on the PPP in 2018.
Well, you're taking the points out of me there, Rickford, because I have it in a chronological order
Proceed,
to
sir.
deliver. And not only was it supported by Bharat Jagdeo, it was also supported by Priya Manik Chand.
Yeah.
And they all embraced that protest action in 2018. And Coretta, who is one of us and who was one of us in 2018, went and still protested our government for her teachers.
Hold on.
That
Mr.
is
Durka, you just got blackouts?
the
The lights
I-
on. Let me check.
I think he got blackouts, but go ahead.
yes. So the point I am making, Rickford, is that an individual can sit in many capacities. And Coretta happens to sit
Yes,
as
you
the
go ahead.
General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union. And when she meets with her executive, they have to operate within the best interest
Of the teacher.
of the teachers that they represent. When she sits with the PNC, she will operate within the best interest of the PNC. As it is right now, this fundamental action of a strike against the government, she is acting within her interest as a representative of the teachers. And I salute her for differentiating the cap that she wears, and I salute her for standing with her teachers, resolute for an outcome that can be beneficial to her and her teachers. Now,
But I don't see it
one
more
way
more
that
so. Hold on.
Rickford, I want to make this critical
Go ahead.
point before I lose it. I have noticed that the attack on GTU coming from the Ministry of Education, who would normally provide a subvention of 5 million Guyana dollars to the GTU, is saying that they have not audited their, they have not submitted financial statements to the Auditor General. I must say it was a bit strange that the Auditor General came out so quickly to try to bring some degree of clarity and say that they have not submitted financial statements. Let me make this point. And viewers must know I sit on the Public Accounts Committee of this country. And financial statements not being submitted for audit is a procedural error on the part of the entity. It is not a crime, so to speak. It is a procedural error that can quickly be corrected. And when I look at the years that they were talking about, I know that that entity, GTU, had a number of chairpersons and executives that served during those periods. And it must be taken into account that when a new executive inherits an office, the practice that has happened, which was not picked up upon, nor was it raised as a red flag, sometimes get overlooked. But I trust that Coretta and her executive is seeking to clarify. And I was happy to see that that clarity came. But this is something that people don't know, Rickford. I have just turned the Auditor General's report of 2022. And I want to tell you that whilst they're attacking Coretta MacDonald and the Guyana Teachers Union for their $5 million a year
I
that
want to
they
know if the
pay.
other unions submit their own too. I was coming to that. Go ahead.
We have National Drainage and Irrigation Authority. And I just turned my page to Ministry of Agriculture. And I just openly turned it. And I see that the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority received 10,498,215,000 in the year 2023, sorry, 2023. And 2022, my apologies, this is the 2022 Auditor General's report.
Right.
So in 2022, 10,498,215,000. And their year of last audited report was 2016. Now, in 2017, they got billions of dollars, 2018 billions, 2019 billions, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and we're in 2024. So if submitting financial statement and audited report is such a big crime that you have to paint it and meander your way in the politics to say that you're not going to give them no more money because of this great crime, why have you continued to give NDIA money knowing that their last audited report was in 2016?
But before you go there, Rickford,
But not only that,
Hold on, hold on.
I want people to see it's a whole list I got. It's not just it's a whole list of people.
Ganesh, I want to know the other unions. Has GAU submitted? Has was it NASI submitted? Has
No,
the
whether they have
union submitted?
Whether they have submitted or not, Rickford, the point is it is a procedural error. That is the point I am making.
Politics with it.
Now, I don't know to what extent GAU has submitted because it isn't mentioned in the report. But the point, another fundamental point, is that you have a set of agencies that have lapses, years of lapse, and you still continue to give them billions of dollars. So don't allow, I'm saying this to teachers, don't allow yourself to be caught in a web of political distraction, which is what the People's Progressive Party is very good with. They are trying to distort, they're trying to pivot, and they're trying to cause a confusion between the teachers and their union, because if they can destroy this union, then they will have ultimate control over the teachers. Now, let me tell you something, Rickford. I was president of a union also, the student union at the University of Guyana. And when the students of the Faculty of Natural Sciences were affected by an issue, I made the point to all the other faculties that if we allow the university administration to get to the heads of these people in health science, and we don't support them, and we don't stand with them, and we don't rally with them, then it will weaken our system of representing when the other faculties are tackled. So even though I had mistress right now, and I'm going to call a random figure, even though a headmistress may take home $360,000, and she feels comfortable with that sum, she must realize that as a teacher, she can get more. And her other people coming up the line, her siblings, her offsprings, and what's not, it is her duty to create an environment of betterment for them. So this is not just about the teachers who are not academically accomplished as others. Once you are the holder of a trained teacher's certificate, you have that ability to produce results that can cause this country to have remarkable ambassadors, remarkable ministers, remarkable members of parliament, remarkable judges, remarkable everybody. Once you have a trained teacher certificate, and sometimes even those TQMs, those temporary qualified masters and mistresses, they do a damn good job and a better one than some of them who has postgraduates and masters and professorship and so on. So it's not about that. It's about you standing up together unified with a common cause of ensuring that betterment comes to you and your profession. Because living in this country right now is not easy. And everybody knows that we have the resource to provide better for all of our workers.
Okay, let me ask
But
Greta.
Rickford, before you go there, let me say to your viewers, we have been receiving from the PPP government since 2006, $5 million. And every time we went to the ministry to requisition for the next $5 million for the next year, we had to ensure that the previous year was cleared, and this passes through the PS, and that's how they release the $5 million. So when they talk about the audited statements, and every year we have to clear before we get the $5 million. And let me make it clear, not what Priya said in Parliament. Priya is very dishonest, and the Speaker allows it, and he allowed it then. Priya is saying that the $5 million is to assist teachers who fall into hard patches and so on. Nothing like that. It is clear that that $5 million is to assist with training, and not the foolishness that Priya is saying. But of course, Priya wants to look good, and she always feels that, flouncing around the place with words and so on makes her look good. But I want you to know that $5 million is cleared every year by the Ministry of Education, because if they don't clear it, it will be an audit query for them. So we have to clear that every year with the Ministry of Education, and it has been happening since 2006.
Did that
That's a
money,
very
was that
valid point,
subvention
Coretta.
given under the APNU government? It continued?
It was continued under the APNU government, and the same thing, we have to clear every year before we get the new year.
No
Let me ask you, as
entity
a member of
record,
parliament,
before you go.
hold on, Ganesh, hold on. As a member of parliament, correct, and general secretary of the union, how do you feel that the Auditor General inserted himself in this matter from a political or within a political context in order to give some sort of credibility to the argument that the People's Progressive Party was making, rather than
The Auditor General in that instance, he was acting very, very unprofessional. And it would lead one to say that maybe his hands are in the pockets of the PPP, if that's how you want to put it. One can clearly say that, because as a professional, if I was asked that question, then I would have, the next question I would have asked is, look, I can give you this one, I can give you this one, I can give you the other one, I can tell you how many others are in breach. Why is it that you want to have this one? But this is what is happening in this country. We have corrupt officers who are manning this country in various positions. And so this is what we get from them. Professional people have become political people. The Guyana Police Force, if you look at the operations of the Guyana Police Force, right now, I feel so good right now, because every time I move around this town, I have 2 or 3, what you call them, superintendents, inspectors, whoever they be, with the ones in the khaki with their black cord and so on. I have them escorting me to wherever I want to go, to my car, from my car to this point, to that point.
And are they monitoring you? Are they escorting you, or are they monitoring you?
Yes, that's what they're doing. I feel good, and that is coming because they are carrying out political instructions.
What are they doing? They're escorting you, or they're monitoring you? What to say? Like,
well, they're monitoring me. If I have to move from one point to go to my car, they're walking alongside me. And of course, as a teacher, I talk with them and I share so much with them.
Are they following you? Are they following you? If you drive your car, are they driving behind you? Are they following?
Well, let me tell you, special branches vehicles, they have been driving behind me. And I know a few of them, and that's why I can say that they have been driving behind me. So it's a whole big monitoring of Coretta MacDonald wherever she is. Like Brother Dorga said, I went to Essequibo on a Thursday. I went there on Thursday. By the time I got there and they recognized that I was there, they started interfering with the live feed. By the time I left there the next day, the teachers were locked out from that avenue there that you would go through to get to the Department of Education and the multilateral school. They were locked out from that avenue. The gates were locked. Police were in front there. They blocked the teachers from going there. prevented them from going under the shed that they were using. So everywhere I go, they're monitoring me.
So you're saying that the Guyana police force is now obstructing the teachers from participating in the strike?
Yes, that's exactly what they're doing. Let me tell you what happened yesterday. On Monday, the conference opened on Monday. On the first day, we were in between that little street with the lighthouse.
What conference?
The energy conference. They got big international energy conference going on down here, where we have several heads of government and so on at the Marriott. So they barricaded the place and we were out there. Every time I attempted to move, you saw the police on their radio sets, and they were following me. Yesterday and today we were at the Yomanayano. I attempted to walk through, and I'm sure you saw the one with Honorable Nima Flew Best, where they prevented her. They said no opposition MP could go to the conference. I parked my car way beyond the Pegasus Hotel, because they said to me I couldn't park anywhere alongside, so I had to go park way out there by the bandstand. Coming from the bandstand to go join my colleague just beyond the Yomanayano, I was greeted by a police officer who came walking towards me, and then he said to me, I couldn't walk past this patch to go to the Yomanayano to meet my colleagues then. Mind you, the barricades that they had on Monday, they were right at the corner. As soon as you pass the Yomanayana, they were right at the corner there. Yesterday, they were beyond the Yomanayana, right by the corner of what you call the street there when you're heading to the commissioner's office. They were right there, and so we couldn't pass that corner there. That corner runs in line with the Court of Appeal. We couldn't pass there. The barricades came forward. And so every time Coretta McDonald make a move, the officers are there and they're saying, look, she's going there. You're seeing them there on their radio sets.
Coretta, do you feel like you're living in Russia?
Sometimes I feel that way, but then I have to bully them and I have to tell them, I am a Guyanese. Stop walking behind me. Go behind the Venezuelans that y'all got living illegally in this country. Walk behind them. Don't walk behind me. Go look for the bandits who doing all kinds of things. Go look for them.
I know. I saw the police officers recording you guys. Why don't you record them back?
Well, we have started doing that as of yesterday. We have our teachers there, and as soon as they come close to say anything to us, we have been recording them. We are taking their pictures. They have loads and loads of special branch officers there. Some young boys who come with all their face mask up and all kind of thing. And so our teachers are taking their pictures too.
Let me come back to Mr. Durga. Mr. Durga, you mentioned about the lockout. Correct? Just expanding on it. Could you tell us exactly what happened there? Apparently you guys were assembling in a part of that compound. I'm sure teachers from the multilateral school were also there. So the police force, the Guyana police force is actually doing political work for the PPP. That's how I see it, political work. And they are blocking you guys, the striking teachers, from entering the compound of the school, correct?
Well, it's not actually the compound of the school. It's more of a public space because it's two streets, and the middle there, a park was built there, and now they put a shed over it. So they were claiming that the shed has been placed there for the multilateral students because they have a ship system with the Cottonfield Secondary. So when those students come earlier, they will go. But that point here, day before yesterday, when we were there, no students were there. So I said to the officer, the students are not here, so we are using the shed, and when they come, then we will remove. And so
the police officers are enforcing education ministry policy. Basically, they're making a distinction between teachers who must use the shed and students who must use the shed.
That's right.
Do you feel intimidated by the police? I'm coming to you just now, Ganesh.
Yeah.
Mr. Durga, do you and the other teachers in Escribo feel intimidated by the police?
Yes, sir. We are because if we are there, and I said it to him, we are here in public space. We are not making any noise or disturbing the school or anything. As a matter of fact, we didn't start or actually cancel one. We just sat around the teacher, and he came and gave that instruction. And when we tried to put up some resistance, he would have raised his voice and sworn and say, you know what,
When you say who, could you call the name of the person, name and rank?
I wouldn't remember his name, but the rank he is the commander of the region of the
So somebody
and
please
retired.
post the name of the commander in Region 2 in the comments to me. Um, the I'm trying to understand the legitimate role, Mr. Durga, of the police here. So let me go through a couple of questions with you. There's been no violence, correct?
None. Mm-mm.
There's been no violence. There's been no threats
No
by
violence.
anybody against the teachers
No.
and teachers against anybody.
Mm-mm.
There's been no
We are
public
sitting there
disorder.
peacefully. No public disorder.
There's been no interpersonal conflicts.
No, no.
No interpersonal.
And the police is there with a heavy presence and intimidating teachers. This is unbelievable. Ganesh, what do you think of all of this?
I was going to ask Mr. Durga if that's the shed that was constructed, I think, in 2017 or 2018, thereabout.
The ferry shed, I think.
No, the park was constructed there, but now I think they built a shed here. But the park
Yeah, I
was
Right.
think
built
that
in
shed, yeah, the
2017.
purpose of that shed, the genesis or the reason behind that shed was for it to be a waiting area for people who may want to go to the
Good.
Department of Education. And on top of that, there's a nursery school, I think Cottonfield Nursery,
Right there.
around the area, waiting area for parents. And then oppositely on the other side, you have Cottonfield Secondary, and down the street, you have Anne Regina Secondary. So the reason that they're giving you there for that
Correct.
shed is hogwash. That is what I know. It is most unfortunate that our police officers have to be a part of this political arm, and they're trying to make the police force, or I should say, they have made the police force in a political as a political arm of the government, and that's very unfortunate in this democracy. But sometimes I feel so sorry for these young men and women in uniform to know that they have to do this kind of thing. Sometimes most of them don't even want to do it
That's
because
true.
they know that it is not a part of their standard operations procedures. And sometimes they don't want to participate in it. But just like how the teachers are fighting for their bread and butter issue, these policemen and women, unfortunately, have to protect their bread and butter too, that they have there. And sometimes if they refuse, then their job is on the line. And then the commissioner of police, whom I don't know when he will go home, he will sometimes take sanctions against them, and they have to they will be victimized within the force. So I pity sometimes, and I feel so sorry for these officers who have to get this constant bombardment, who have to constantly be targeted because they are in the direct line of action. But really and truly, it is the political people at the top of the government. And I have always said, Rickford, and I'm going to say it to your viewers, you can't plant bora and want to reap okra. If you plant bora, you're going to reap a bora. If you make your bed hard, you're going to lie on it. You, me, every Guyanese that are eligible to vote, you have to decide whether you want to keep these barbaric people in office that can't simply recognize that it's a democracy of a country. You have to decide whether you're going to keep them there. In 2018, when there was the strike, as bad as the coalition was seen by the teachers at that time, we didn't put police on them. The coalition didn't send police to run them out from
That's true.
striking. The coalition, if I'm not mistaken, correct, guide me. I think after 1.5 weeks of that protest action, you guys were called to the table.
Mhm.
And GTU sat down with the Minister of Education. At the time, it was Nicolette Henry and the team. And that negotiation began. and they started to move in a direction of bringing betterment to the lives of teachers. And then we did not have $1 trillion budget.
Nope. Nope.
But when the protest action happened in 2018, there was a common call for the government and the union to sit at the table. We didn't go and say that the union didn't submit their financial statement for audit. We didn't say that the union is a political arm of the PPP. We didn't say that the union should not be recognized.
Well, there
We
is a
recognized
union
the
that's the political
union.
arm of the PPP, and it's called GAHU.
We
I-
But let's not afraid
embraced the
everybody. Hold on.
union.
Stop press,
And
stop
we
press.
dealt
So I
with the
just got a
union in a
call.
professional way.
I
And
just got a
today,
call.
in 2024, you have these demons, these
Hold on,
old
guys.
camps.
Hold on. I just got a call from a member of the Ghana Police Force who said to me, the person who is the commanding officer in Region 2 is Superintendent Kemraj Shivbaran. Is that the person?
Okay.
Yeah, that's the commander for Region 2.
That's Region 2.
Superintendent
That's
Kemraj
the same commander
Shivbaran.
that somehow
Somebody
put my
posted-
name. That's the same commander, Rickford, that somehow put my name in a statement that he was taking from the young lady that
From the-
alleged.
Oh, the
Darren
radio issue
Lal.
with Darren Lal.
Yes, and I don't know how the
That-
hell my name reached there.
Could
That's
somebody post?
That's the
Could
same
somebody
man who
post,
took time
this
off to
photograph
go and
from-
get the young lady to write this statement. The same young man who couldn't send another officer, he himself went there. But again, Rickford, let me say, when we turned up there on Monday, imagine the police came to us to say, we have a guy who beats a drum. They said, we can't beat any drum around there. We can't beat any drum. It's not making noise. We can't do that. So we decided that we were going to sing, and we moved the guy who was beating the drum a little further down in the crowd. And we were there. And you had, I think he's probably a superintendent to Mr. Das. He was there and he was monitoring every single thing that I was doing.
Could somebody post a
Again-
photograph of Mr. Das in Region 2?
Well, no, Dask is in Georgetown.
Oh, Georgetown. Okay.
Dask is in Georgetown. Dask is my very
but
good friend
Rickford,
who wears
Rickford
a dark
naming-
shade most of the time.
Rickford, naming and shaming and blaming the police officers. Again, I make the point. It is Robertson Ben who passes down the instruction to Clifton Hickens, and he's the one who makes it happen. So it is Clifton Hickens who has to be named, shamed, and blamed. It is Robertson Ben who has to be named, shamed, and blamed. Barrett Jagyo, Irfan Ali, Priya Manik Chan. Those are the scamps that we're
And
dealing with.
But a police
don't leave out-
superintendent should know. Hold on.
don't
A
leave
police
Joe Hamilton
superintendent should-
out.
hold on, credit. A police
of course, Joe
superintendent
Hamilton.
should know when he is engaging in an unlawful activity. And telling
Yes.
the teachers they cannot assemble on that tent that is connected to the school that they work at, that is an illegal instruction. So I don't understand how, well, listen, one of them come to my house, and left Guyana, suppose he'd gone back in a coffin. You know what I'm saying? So these-
well, you know, right?
So
police
that's what I'm
officers
telling you.
themselves-
It's political instructions, and they're doing it to save their own bread and butter. If they don't do it, they'll be victimized.
But
If
you
they
know,
don't do it, they will be targeted.
but you know what? I somehow don't buy all of what Ganesh is saying, because I had to say to the police officers yesterday and on Monday, I had to remind them it was at the very Pegasus Hotel they were having a conference when President Granger turned up there to speak. One Edgel and the whole crew stood up with their placards and they were there. And the very police officers were in that room when the president's security was threatened. And
they
the
did
police
nothing.
did not behave that way.
Yeah.
They
correct.
did not behave
Don't get
that
me
way.
wrong.
Remember,
Correct and
hold
Rickford.
on. Remember, it was the same police officers who were standing on the outside when Irfan Ali and the others
Tried to turn
attempted
over the
to
car.
overturn Karen's vehicle. They blocked what's his name, David Patterson, and all of a sudden in 2024, the very police officers, they're carrying out a new mandate now. They're carrying out new orders now. They forget that they were a professional bunch of people back a couple of years ago. But now I don't want to say the names that they have become now. But I hear you, and
They have
I'm
become
happy that
thugs.
they have some very
become
good ones.
thugs for the PPP. That's
Yeah,
what
that's
they
the
are. They're
point
thugs.
I wanted to
Rickford,
make.
Some of them.
No, they have some very good ones because they
Yes,
have
some
been
of them,
very
some of them.
kind to us. A few of them who are standing beyond the barricades, they've been very kind to us. So they're saying, well, you know, Miss McDonald, we have to do this. We have to carry out the instructions. Or next thing you know, we get transferred to Monkey Mountain or Cato or somewhere there. And we can understand that. So we've been cooperating with them. We've been working with them. You know, sometimes I even throw at them, look, if you need water, we have water. If you need juice, we have juice. But I don't know how you'll collect it because all eyes are on you folks here, especially if Coretta come around you. But this is the level that we have gone to. And I'm amazed that we are not hearing anything from the guardians of democracy. We're not hearing anything from Sarah Lynch, wherever she is at this time, because I'm sure, well, I guess this is Madrid Sarah Lynch, but it has been 13 days since teachers across this country have been out on the streets, out of their classrooms, from where they are, from being with the children who they love, and this government is paying no heed to it. It is simply saying that this government does not care about ordinary people.
Yes, Coretta, you made my
So I'm
point
looking at
there, right? They are very
I'm
good
looking at some of the comments
officers.
here, and people are talking about the fact that when the APNU government came into power, it held nobody accountable. Not the police officers, not people at PPP. There were some criminal charges against like 4 or 5 people. This is my thing. You have Clifton Hicken. I don't think Clifton Hicken is only carrying out political instructions. Clifton Hicken is acting like he was a central member of the PPP, right? So he's a
Who knows,
minister
maybe
all
he
by
is.
himself, right? And so who is going to, when there's a change in government, or one of the things I believe that the opposition doesn't make enough use of the courts. And maybe it's justified that the courts are probably themselves altogether not independent. I don't know. But who's going to hold these people accountable? You have all of these persecution, instances of political persecution, and all of it is done through the police force. All of it. It's a change in tactic. When Bart Jagdeo was president, they used the death squad, and they killed people. Bart Jagdeo formed that death squad to kill people. He was never held accountable, not in Guyana, not internationally. You had police officers who were named in reports, police officers who were named in court action, never was held to account. For instance, I'm shocked. I'm now reading a court judgment where the Chief Justice of Guyana named Sarabo as somebody who committed torture and crimes against humanity. And he was left in the police force.
Mm-hmm.
He was left in the police force after the Chief Justice named him and fined the state about $1 million for his actions. He was not fired. He was not demoted. He's nothing. He was promoted. So who is going to, Ganesh and Coretta, you guys are politicians, who will hold these people accountable? Either now, by filing court action, or when the government change, charge them and put them before the court.
Rickford, I am going to answer that with one sentence. And I'm going to say to you that the best teacher is experience. And 2015 to 2020 was the experience. And I know that as APNU AFC, as a new member in terms of its executive level, and my sister Coretta, we will use 2015 to 2020 as the experience to not repeat some of the errors.
But I want to say to us, outside of the police force, I want to remind our viewers that in 2018, when the GTU took industrial action against the coalition government, there was no threat of any teacher losing pay during that time. No threat. But in 2024, teachers have been issued, there have been memos going out there that teachers' salaries are going to be cut. There are other memos going out there circulating, trying to instill fear into our teachers, saying that as long as teachers are absent on unauthorized leave, then legal proceedings can be taken against them. And I want our teachers to understand that this government is not only coming after the GTU per se, but they are coming after you individually. And that we have got to stand up to the test of time that we are faced with now. We've got to hold together, and we, like the teachers are saying, slippers on the ground, we ain't backing down. They have another chant that they have out there. When Ali wasn't president, he know what we should get. Now that he's acting president, it seems as if he forgot. If Priya was a teacher, she would have joined the strike. And so teachers are rationalizing everything that is happening to them.
I see teachers are complaining all across social media that the Minister of Education is, to use a Guyanese term, deliberately palavering around the place with Gucci bag and Louis Vuitton bags, and while teachers are punishing, like, what? How could they be so out of touch? Of touch.
As a matter of fact, Durga would tell you she was on the Essequibo coast there the same day the strike commenced, and she was there palavering with her back. She was playing volleyball with the children, as if to say, look at these out there, as if to say, she's taunting them out there, rather than, I remember Nicolette Henry when we were in the conference room of the Ministry of Education. Nicolette Henry and the chief education officer then, Marcel Hudson, they said, they're going to be back. And we thought that they had some errand to go to. You know what those two folks did? They went out on the street there to talk to the teachers. They went on the street. I remember Dennis Jaikaran. He was the regional executive officer in Region 3, and Ganesh, you would remember that. While the teachers were protesting out there, he said, you know what? I was a teacher too, and he went out there and he stood with the teachers, but not this set. Not this set. This set.
Well, this is Animal Farm, right? These people are Animal Farm.
Man, they're worse than animals.
According to the teachers, Durga, Priya wearing Louis, teachers wearing Chinese.
But somebody just say speak back. Anyway, Mr. Durga, let me ask you this. You spoke about the cash grant. So this government deliberately went into the schools to give these cash grants while the teachers were in strike. Is it your understanding that the teachers who were not in the classroom at the time will not get those cash grants? And if that is so, isn't that a punishment of the children?
No. Here what has happened. I think it was a strategy because they knew the strike would have happened on the Monday. So she arranged that. It was basically two schools she went to. Anna Regina Secondary and Abramsville Secondary. But this cash grant will normally be given to head teachers. So they will collect this lump sum, and then the teachers, and they will have arrangements and they purchase for the enhancement of the classroom.
So that was just a puppy show.
And a waste of taxpayers' money to Rickford, because why Priya has to go chartering a plane to fly to Hampton Court? You know how much millions of dollars Priya gallivants around this country with taxpayers' money. This country has 10 regional education offices. All 10 of them have regional education officers. Education is decentralized. Priya knows that. It's decentralized in all of these regions. The money could have been warranted to the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development, and then warranted to the Regional Democratic Council of every region. And with the click of a button, they could have collected the money, incur less expense, and get it distributed. When you look at the traveling, when you look at the allowance of traveling that these ministers are gallivanting across this country with, and wasteful spending, if they cut on those kind of things, they will have money to pay teachers and all public servants better salaries. When you look at the food bill, never before, no other budget in this country ever had a meals and refreshment bill as $541 million. These people will be sitting in their office eating $541 million. And they're talking about not having money. When you look at dietary,
that's the teacher salary right there for 2 years.
You look at traveling, you look, I could pull up the numbers, Rickford, and I can tell you what is the number that they're looking at.
So
These people are
for
so,
the
and
year,
they're so
their budget
skimpish
for
when it comes
meals
to
is
providing better
500 million.
salaries to the public servants and teachers.
Wow.
As a matter of
Well,
fact,
hold on. Pause, everybody. Pause. I wanted to sink in with the audience. For the year, Ganesh, you're saying the money that the PPP government has budgeted for ministers and their staff to eat is $500 million.
$541 million.
$541 million
That
for
is
meals.
just meals and refreshment.
Meals
There is
and
another
refreshment.
line that is called the dietary.
Mhm.
And the dietary line, it encapsulates the meals for the school feeding program to feed the police officers, the prison service, and so on. So I haven't touched that. That is in the billions. That is in the billions. And rightly so when it comes to the school feeding program and the police
The police
officers and
officers
so
and
on
the
when they go
GF
and so on.
officers. Yeah.
But it has
but then
grown significantly. And I'm going to tell you that figure. Give me 1 second. Correct, I see one to come in
yes,
there by the
but then
meantime.
while
I
we're
think it's
while we are
1.5 billion or something. Go ahead, Coretta.
while we're agreeing that the billions must be spent on the school feeding program, the children don't get that. They don't get that kind of quality. We have seen a sausage wrap up so in a little plastic and cool down juice, and we saw many children and parents complaining about the quality of the food. In some instances, you hear they give them they treat them as if they're vegetarians, just peas and rice, a little bit of brown stew and some rice. And so we have to question the amount of spending. But as we speak, President Ali is in St. Lucia. Your teachers are in crisis in Guyana, but you're in St. Lucia for the observance of their independence. That's the kind of people we have to deal with in this country. You don't have money to pay teachers, but you got money to gallivant around the place.
Rickford,
Well,
if you want, I can give you some clarity right now because
yes,
I'm
please, go
looking at
ahead.
it. Now, the total for dietary is 13,304,845,000. And from that sum, they have for dietary for nursery school 777 million. So let's call that 1 billion, right? They have for primary school 4 billion. So let's say 5 billion, right? So it is about $5 billion that is from that sum that is allocated for the school children, the school feeding program. And they increased it from last year. And Coretta, you can guide me as a former teacher. The school feeding program that they had last year is not much different from what they have this year.
Not much different
There
from what they
isn't
have
any
this year.
increase. You didn't add a meal to it. If you
Nope.
used to give 3 meals, it is at 3 meals. If
Well,
it's
then,
two, it's
well,
two.
then it's inflation, and they're saying
Let your
inflation
viewers
is down.
understand this. Let your viewers understand this. The school feeding program was introduced by the APNU AFC.
Yep.
We introduced the school feeding program to schools across this country. And we did not have $1 trillion budget.
We did not have oil
introduced
money
it
then.
with $250 billion budget. And when we introduced it, it is what Priya is now expanding because the resource is there. If Priya believe we're going to believe her before 2015, if she believe we believe 2 biscuit and a juice was a school feeding program, then she gotta go check herself. Because 2 biscuit and a Topco juice wasn't the school feeding program. We introduced the hot meal program to the students across this country. So if you take out that $4 billion, Rickford, you're still going to have $9 billion and something dollars, right? And last year it was $10 billion. $10 billion it was last year, and this year you increase it to $13,304,000,000. So you see the increase that comes with where food is of concern. In 2022, the meals and refreshment was 454 million. Today, they're still eating the same stuff that ate in 2022 for 454 million.
They
The
eat more
same
now.
staff that ate 454 million. And the same ministers, the same cabal, PPP cabal that ate 454 million in 2022. This year, they want to eat $541 million.
Ganesh, you're
So
saying
they can get the increase.
Andrea Premnat is in that?
They can get the increase, Rickford, but the teachers got
Teachers
get
can't get an increase.
6.5, and they got to stay with the 6.5. The 6.5 got to be taxed too. You ain't getting it as no tax free. It got
That's
to be
true.
taxed. When
And
the APNU AFC gave salary increase, and that's why I'm a proud APNU AFC supporter. I'm a proud member of the PNC because I know what we did and I know what we stand for and I know what we did with the limited resources we had. The first year we gave a 7.5% salary increase across the board, tax free. 12 months retroactive from January, and on top of that, we also had given $50,000 one-off cash bonus. I don't know if Sardine remember that in 2016. 2017, no, it was 2015 we did that. 2016 we did 25,000 bonus one-off. And all our increases that we gave retroactive to January, it was tax-free. Teachers, doctors, nurses, public servants, they weren't paying taxes on those increases.
Without oil
and
money.
we were able to give 8% increase, 9% increase across the board to earners that are earning below 500,000 and so on.
Yep.
And we did it in a way where the higher you are on the pay scale, the less percentage you get. The lower you are on the pay scale, the higher percentage you get. And we could have given 9% increase. 9% increase we could have given to people who are earning $200,000 and less. And you mean to tell me with a $1.146 trillion, you are only telling me 6.5 is enough? Shame and disgraceful.
And outside of that, the president is asking the teachers to wait until 2027. And then the vice president comes around to say, we cannot give teachers this because if we give teachers this, we're not sure what is going to be the situation with oil and the prices. The prices for oil might drop and we would not be able to sustain it. So one person is saying one thing and then the real president is saying something else. So we're not even sure if we wait for 2027 if we can get anything at all. But I must say to you that while we are talking all of this here, our teachers in Upper Mass, they're suffering. One bottle of gas in Upper Mass is $18,000 for one bottle of gas.
You mean Upper Mass, Rudy?
Upper Mass, yes. One
Region
packet
7.
of rice is $8,000. 1 pound of beef is $1,500. So, Rickford, if you do the calculations, you understand how our teachers in some areas, how they have to stretch and overstretch and do all kind of stretching. Sardine will tell you some of what our male teachers have to do to subsidize the meager salaries that they're getting.
So listen, we have about 17,000 people watching us, and I don't want to lose that crowd. So I want to tell, especially the viewers outside of Guyana, we want to do something to help the teachers in Guyana. So there's a group of people here in the United States, in Brooklyn, in New York City rather, who want to come together to do a telethon and a donation drive. We will have a telethon. We'll do it at the radio station. We'll announce a date for it where people can call in or message us online or go online and donate to the teachers in Guyana. And also, before that telethon, we'll announce a drop-off location so that people who want to drop off canned items and rice and flour and so on can drop it off at the location, and then we will ship it overnight to Guyana. There are a number of couriers who ship overnight to Guyana by aircraft. So that's the arrangement we're making. And Coretta, I hope that when we do the telethon, you and the president of GTU and all Mr. Durga and all the other executive members could join us, and we can talk live to the contributors. And we can have some former teachers who over here coming in and contributing as well. We'll tell them where the location is. And also, we want to also talk with the teachers union here in New York. to lend some assistance to the teachers in Guyana. The main thing is that this is what I have observed. I believe that the strategy is to not engage these teachers, and the government believes that after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, teachers will be in suffering some sort of hardship because they're not paying them, and they would want to return to the classroom
Yep.
without any benefit from the strike.
Yep.
We should not let that happen at all. So I want to tell all members of the audience here who are listening to look out for that sometime next week. We'll give you guys enough time to plan, enough time to budget. We will be doing a telethon to assist Guyana teachers who are on strike so that they can have some sort of resources to continue fighting for their rights and their benefits. So be prepared, especially former teachers, whatever else you can do. Organizations who can contribute can do that. We want to put a mechanism in place so that we can collect online, we could connect through the phone call, we can have donations, actual donations coming in, and then you can drop off items to a location to assist the teachers. Correct?
Yes, Rickford, I want to thank you so much for that initiative. And it will go a far way for our teachers, because I can tell you, many of our teachers are worried that their salaries are going to be cut, and they have obligations to the bank, to credit union,
Mortgage, car
court,
payments,
singers, wherever. So, and that's one way that the government is using to pressure teachers so that teachers would return to the classrooms. But our teachers are steadfast, and our teachers are saying, whatever happens, we are going to stand out here, because we know if we were to return to the classroom without having a signed agreement, we know the kind of advantage that would be taken upon us. We know the kinds of victimization that would be meted out to us. And so we will stand out here with our union, and our union will ensure that whatever monies we lose, we are going to be compensated, and whatever else they can offer, that they are willing to they will be willing to offer to us across this country. And so that's why our teachers are continuing to hold on.
Before we go to closing remarks, Coretta, do you anticipate that other unions will, in the interest of solidarity, join the strike? Is that your desire?
Let me tell you what, we have received solidarity messages from many unions. While we appreciate the solidarity messages, bodies out there is what is important. And so we are quite disappointed that as of today, the 13th day, we have not seen the kind of support that we would want to have from other unions in terms of bringing their members out there. I mean, if across this region, unions were to bring out 8 persons to join the teachers, then that would go a far way. But I want to thank those persons who have come out. We would have had some nurses, we had some office staff. They're coming out during their lunch break. They're using their lunch break to come out to stand with teachers. And you know what, Rickford? Even during their lunch break, some of those nurses, some of those staff, office staff, would have been written to, telling them that their lunch hour is not to be used for that. And I know that some of our folks are very strong, and they've said, my lunch hour is my lunch hour. You can't tell me what to do with my lunch hour. But this is the kind of oppressiveness that we have that is perpetuating across this country. And the PPP government feel that they can set up their cronies in different sectors and have them there to oppress Guyanese people. So you can't talk for your right. You can't smile. You can't do this. You can't do that. You just have to drag along with whatever they say, or to scramble whatever they throw out there for you.
Got you. Well, my encouragement is to all the public servants in Guyana. I think there should be a general strike, bring the government to its knees so they could get some senses to respect the rights of teachers, to advocate for better wages, advocate for better working conditions. So public service union, y'all better get firing up. Transport workers union, get firing up. All the other unions, get firing up. Get fired up. We have to stand up for the rights of teachers. Closing remarks, Mr. Durga.
Yes, I want to say thank you for having us, and it's a good initiative in trying to raise some finances for teachers, because presently we've been asked as leaders what will become of the teachers they're asking because the salary cut that is bothering them. And so this will be a very excellent initiative to us to assist and help our members. Because as I can tell you, we as teachers, and I can speak specifically about the males, we have to be involved in 2 and 3 jobs so as to make ends meet. We have to be working in the background. We have to be working taxis. We have to do. One of our brother there the other day on the live, he showed when they interviewed him, he had a little mini bus with little items selling and going around and sell
Mhm,
fruits and
mhm.
vegetables and some other items and so on, you know. Or like me,
Wow.
during the holidays, I will go away on the high seas just to make ends meet. Yes, so that is what
Thank
we
you
would
very
like
much for your
to do.
service. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being an educator, and thank you for helping to mold our
Mhm.
nation's children.
Yep.
Ganesh?
You're welcome.
Let me say, first of all, as a politician and a member of parliament, I am extremely grateful for all the teachers who
Mhm.
molded me and would have played a great role in making me who I am today. I'm forever grateful for that. I attended the CV Noons Primary School and the Anna Regina Secondary School, the University of Guyana, and I can't forget Richmond Nursery School also. And those teachers were wonderful teachers who I passed through. And I know that being a teacher is not something easy. As much as I am a politician, what I do, I read books, I study the budget, I look at the wrongs, and I comment, and I object, and I oppose, and I proffer how to do it good. And everybody else who are in respective field of work, they have a concentrated focus that they move with. But when you're a teacher and you have to be in a classroom that is not air conditioned, but you have 30 children who come from different villages, who grow up in different environment, and who have different attitudes, and you have to deal with 30 children in one
Mhm.
environment, and
Mhm.
these children have different backgrounds, their family problems, and all sorts of things. Teachers are more than just chalk
Teachers,
writers on
more than
blackboard.
just teachers.
They are everything together
Mhm.
for that child. They're everything. They're the child's mother, grandmother, police, psychiatrist,
Psychologist, social
doctor,
worker.
social work, everything. The teacher is
Everything. Yeah.
everything in one package. So when you see a teacher and when you observe and know what a teacher goes through, they deserve a salute, they deserve conducive environment, and they deserve the best a country can offer them. And right now, I am convinced beyond all shadows of doubt that 6.5 is not the best that we can offer our teachers. We from the APNU AFC have examined the budgetary allocation, and we have recognized that there are wasteful spending in certain line items that can be reduced. And once the money can be wired to the Ministry of Education and the various regions, better can come to all teachers
That's true.
without even touching the whole sum of 1.146 trillion. I did a breakdown on my social media page where right now this government can afford to give every teacher a $100,000 one-off bonus for the year 2024 from this very budget without even causing an issue to the capital projects. This government is not focused on enhancing our human capital. They are not focused on bettering the lives of our people. Whether you're a teacher, doctor, nurse, or a public servant, you are not within the friends, families, and favorite category.
And that's why,
And
and
that
that's
is
why
why
we have to
you
vote them
will.
out.
Again, you're preempting me there, Rickford, but I figure time is of the essence. So, in
Yeah.
that light, I will end my closing remarks by saying the answer to the problem lies in our hands. We have that magnificent ability to pick up that beautiful pencil when we go to the polling station and we go into the polling booth. And all we got to do is put the X to the right place, and you can get betterment through that means. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Coretta.
Well, Rickford, I want to thank our teachers who have been out there for 13 days, those who have been at home and they have been echoing the call of the union. They've been out, they've been at home, they're doing some pulauri, they're doing some juice. I want to thank those teachers. I want to thank the parents who are out here with us. Every day, you see parents dressing their children and bringing them out there, and they're shouting, "We want our teachers. Mr. President, talk to our teachers and let our teachers come back to school." I want to thank them. But I want to say to this government, if you had sense and if you had a vision for this country, knowing fully well that 2025 is an elections year, you would not have been doing this to teachers, but you have no vision and you have no care. And by doing what you're doing to teachers now, remember, teachers have family, they have husbands, they have wives, they have children who are voting age, they have brothers, sisters, and it's a whole circle. Maybe your calculation is not, you're not doing the calculations, or maybe you're looking at the Venezuelans. But I want to say to you, teachers will continue to stand their ground. Slippers on the ground, we're not backing down. If Priya was a teacher, Priya would have joined the strike. And so I want to thank the viewers for being here with us tonight. And Rickford, we look forward to that night when we are going to be having that telethon, and so that we can express our thanks to all of those persons who would want to assist. May God continue to bless us all as we continue to look forward towards making Guyana one people, one nation, one destiny. Not no one Guyana, because as the teachers are saying, Ali saying one Guyana, Priya saying no Guyana. We want to have one people, one nation with one destiny.
Right, thank you. Well, somebody mentioned the president said wait till 2027. Maybe a new government will give the teachers an increase in 2027. Thank you guys very much. And to the viewing public, remember, our teachers are the ones that help to mold our nation. We must support them, we must respect them. Thank you all. We're over time, but thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Ganesh. Thank you, Coretta. Thank you.
Thank you for
Mr.
having me,
Gilbert.
Rickford. I wanted another hour, but I'll settle for this right now.
Okay, good. We'll bring you back next week. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good
Good
night to
night.
you too.
Okay, and so from here, from the studios of Conversation with Rickford Burke, this is Rickford Burke signing out. Have a good night, everybody, and see you again on Sunday, hopefully, for another edition of Conversation with Rickford Burke. Let us tell our police officers in Guyana to stop being political agents of the PPP and stop harassing our teachers. Have a good night, everybody.